Thank you for joining Effortless Attraction. My name is Evelyn McAleer. I'm the author of A Life You Want, Effortless, and The Woman's Journey. I'm a life coach, business mentor, and inspirational speaker. And my greatest value is making a difference in people's lives. So I hope through these podcasts I can make a difference to your life.
Today's Effortless Attraction podcast is sponsored by Robin Bates Dog Training. Assisting dog owners worldwide, online and in person, to have a greater relationship with their four-legged companion. With over 20 years' experience, Robin is a leading expert in dog behavior, biting, separation anxiety, aggression, and hyperactivity. For more information, visit www.robinbatesdogtraining.com.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in another Effortless Attraction podcast. Well, today I'm super excited. A beautiful woman on the other side of me, Aileen Hogan. And Aileen's business is shabby.ie. Now, I'm going to read out a lovely bio. I loved this, reading it this morning. So Aileen Hogan of shabby.ie started her own business 12 years ago, after leaving a career as cabin crew with British Airways. So she found she had a talent for upcycling furniture, and within a few years had positioned herself as an expert in the field, winning All-Star Business Award 2 years running and becoming an ambassador for Irish paint manufacturer Fleetwood Paints. So Aileen travels the country giving demonstrations and workshops to large groups of people who wish to learn how to update their home themselves. Now, so more recently, she has started collaborating with Virgin Media Studios, and she has a monthly slot on Ireland AM. And she inspires women to do it themselves through DIY on her Instagram account, with videos have had millions of views. Her latest workshop, Beginners DIY for Women, has proved so popular that every day it sells out before they're even advertised. Aileen insists many women are far more capable than they give themselves credit for, and she wants to help inspire confidence and self-esteem by sharing her talents with others. Amen. Thank you so much, Aileen Hogan. That was a fabulous bio. It just got me so excited. You're most welcome today.
Oh, thank you so much, Evelyn, and thank you for having me.
When I started reading this part, and I knew a bit about you, what excited me was the part of you had a career in British Airways. But why that excited me is because I knew that followed on from a story of a careers teacher. Would you share that with us, Aileen?
Well, it's funny how small incidents in your childhood, I think, can form the person you become without you even realizing it. But yes, when I think I was about 13, I was in secondary school, 13 or 14, and I'd been on a few holidays to Spain with my parents. And I remember looking up at this air hostess. As a child, I looked up at her and she seemed so beautiful and so smiley, and she was closing an overhead locker. And I instantly knew I wanted to do that job. So when I was with this career guidance lady, I'd had a couple of things happen to me as a child. I had a few operations that paralyzed a little bit of my face, and this was all going on at the time. And when I sat in front of her and she said to me, "What do you want to be when you grow up, or what do you want to do as a career?" I said I wanted to be an air hostess. And she practically laughed at me and she said, "Oh, don't be silly, don't be silly." She told me only pretty girls can be air hostesses. And unless I had a father who was a pilot in Aer Lingus, did I? And I was crushed. But I walked out thinking, who are you to tell me I can or can't be? Actually, she ignited a fire in me. And I was so insulted by her that I thought no one's going to do that to me. And it made me even more determined. I was only, as I say, 13 or 14. But as soon as I was 19, 20, I started applying to different airlines. I never even looked at Aer Lingus, funny enough, but I started applying to airlines in the UK. And I could not pass an interview, Evelyn. I was so shy, and I think I wanted it too much as well. I was trying too hard. So I pretty much failed every interview and couldn't get into any airline, but I would not give up. And eventually I got into probably the best one, British Airways. And I spent 20 years flying, and it was everything I hoped it was. It was everything I dreamed it was. And I absolutely loved it. And I only gave it up in my 40s when my children came along. So yes, that was the belief of no one else is entitled to crush your dreams. No one else is entitled to tell you what you are or are not capable of. That's your choice.
And you said something very relevant there, Aileen, too. She ignited a fire in you, even though she crushed you.
Yes.
I don't believe your beliefs.
No, I don't believe your beliefs. Exactly. And I think that's what strikes me so much about women, you know, and not just women, perhaps men, but I obviously know women more. Not everybody's going to be like me. You know, I was lucky that it did ignite a fire, but some women would be so crushed, they would believe her. And they would say, I'm not capable of doing that. Clearly, I need to go into the council or get an office job or all the boring things she told me to do. And I that upsets me, that someone else could instill their beliefs, their negative beliefs on you. So no, I try to change that in my own little way in what I do now.
And you absolutely do. And I wouldn't even say little way. Now, if people were going by what followers are, I would say, I think our Aileen has, I'm guessing, around the 150, 160,000 followers on Instagram. Are they all flocking to your door?
It's a snowball effect, Evelyn.
I met you, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago in Dublin. I was doing a talk at the time. And there are people that I don't forget. It's you know that saying, you may not remember what people say, but you'll always remember how they made you feel. But you're always this ball of energy. A ball of energy. And Aileen, that's very, very transparent in all of the videos and all of the work that you're doing. Now, the industry that you've got into, the upcycling and creating things for yourself. And I'm going to use a line that I love, and I've heard you mention it a few times: glued and screwed.
Yeah.
So what took you down this avenue then? You quit, or you finished then with your air hostessing with British Airways, and then you get into glued and screwed.
Yeah. If I'd only thought of that name back then. Yeah, mind you, my followers might have been a bit different. Do you know what? Life has led me down certain paths, and I'm a great believer that you create your own reality, but I didn't back then. Back then I was falling into things. You know, the law of attraction was working, but I wasn't deliberately creating. I was, you know, unconsciously creating, I suppose. But I found I had a talent for upcycling furniture, because when I left flying, we hadn't got an awful lot of money. I would be going to auctions, let's say, to buy furniture as opposed to buying new furniture, and I'd make it suit my home. And then I was obviously quite good at it, because friends and family started asking me to do it, and then people who would actually pay you started asking me to do it. And I found myself with this little cottage industry at home, which there was obviously a little bit of an entrepreneur in me, because within a couple of years I had a shop as well as a website. I'd won different awards. I'd start your own business award, things like that. I did the high flyers with DCU, and it all organically grew, Evelyn. There was very little deliberate creating, I feel, from me until recently. So it was a product-based business I started. I was selling product to other people to do what I was doing, and I was teaching them how to use these products. Does that make sense? So I would do workshops and I would teach them how to upcycle, but it was all in aid of selling product, because that was my business. But over the years, and especially during COVID, my perspective changed, my focus changed. And a lot of people I know, COVID was just a blip and they've just gone on with their lives and gone back to their lives like nothing ever happened. But I feel it changed me a lot, and I became far more appreciative of the smaller things in life, and I became more appreciative of the life I have. When you look around the world, even now, when you look around the world and all that's happening, I'm very, very appreciative of where I live and all I have. But during COVID, the business practically stopped because I couldn't travel. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't give workshops. I couldn't do the job I was supposed to be doing as an ambassador for Fleetwood Paints. So I had just bought a new house, and I did something I had never done in all my years of business. I brought people into my own home. And that is a dangerous thing to do on social media. And I was quite nervous about it because you are opening yourself up to then the negativity that we know is out there. But I felt it was the right thing to do. So I brought people into my home and I said, I'll show them how I make this house into a home.
Aileen, can I just ask, so when you say you brought people into your home via video?
Oh yes, via Instagram. Oh yes, because we were in COVID at the time. There was no going out anywhere, and everybody was on social media, so there was a lot of interaction during social media. So I brought them into my own home with videos, and I showed them all the projects that I was doing. And then I was still advertising. I was still doing my job for Fleetwood, so I was still advertising because I would only be using their products. But it became on a much more personal level. And that's when I started getting messages and comments from people saying things like, you're really talented. In complimenting me, they were putting themselves down. And that got to me. You know, I couldn't dismiss that. So things started to go on. And then I got a few, they were requesting videos. Would you do this? Would you do that? They were particularly asking me for things that they wanted to know, as opposed to just watching me.
So Aileen, you have all of these wonderful women, and apart from them bringing back to life old furniture, your work has to be bringing something back to life in the women themselves.
Oh, that's the biggest part, Evelyn. That is actually my main focus now. I'm teaching them DIY, and I love to see the projects they do at home and how proud they are of themselves, and I'm very proud of them. But the main objective actually is just what you said. It's to help these women bring confidence back to these strong women who have just lost a little bit of self-esteem, who don't believe that they can do this, and teaching them a little bit of DIY actually helps bring all of that back. It helps change them, transform them. I've seen women transform in the day, from 10 a.m. in the morning till 4 p.m. in the evening. They come quiet and shy, and because most of them come on their own and they're afraid to talk even and interact with others. And by 4 p.m. they're leaving happy, confident, full of self-esteem. And I've got messages and phone calls from women driving home to Dublin from Tipperary, nearly crying, thanking me so much for what I've given them. And I know that isn't how to hold a drill. So, and this has been the most rewarding of all my years in business and my whole career. I think this is the most rewarding for me, because I thoroughly believe that the more you give out, the more you get back. And our sole purpose in this life is to find joy. And I think the more joy I can create in others, the more joy that comes back to me tenfold. So it's not about building business or money or any of that anymore. That all comes, funny enough. And I'm not even concentrating on that. It is making sure that no other woman ever feels like I felt at 13, crushed by someone else, or I'm not good enough. Maybe I shouldn't go for that because I'm not good enough. Yes, you are. And no, I don't do all this because I'm extremely creative or I'm brilliant with my hands. I do this because I'm self-taught. I've learned how to do it, and I believe I can. If I believe I can do it, I can do it. And if they believe they can do it, they can do it. And I want to give them that belief.
And you certainly do. I love watching your videos. I love your energy. You touched on something slightly beforehand. I thought, there's a woman talking my language. You mentioned law of attraction. You've said what you give out, you receive back tenfold. And I know when we had a quick conversation the other day, and I've mentioned this more times on podcasts about the law of Dharma, life's purpose for your unique gifts and talents and abilities. There's always a unique need. And I do believe that our purpose here, create joy and do what you love doing, and the rest comes to us. So, law of attraction, when we mentioned it earlier, Aileen, you believe in this. What I put out, I get back. What I believe I can do, I will do. And if it doesn't work out, well, then I'm being shown another avenue. Maybe go down this road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I'm a huge believer in it. It's not something I would talk about to people other than maybe my closest friends. But whether you believe it or not, it happens. It's like gravity, the law of gravity. Whether you believe that or not, you stand on the top of the building. It doesn't matter what age you are, what race you are, what sex you are. If you want to test that law of gravity by jumping off, it's going to work. Whether you believe it is or not, you are going to hit that ground. So, I am a strong believer in like attracts like. And the more you are thankful for what you have, the more the universe will give you more of that. It'll give you more of that, because that's the reality you are creating with your thoughts and your feelings. That's our guidance system. We all know when we're doing right or wrong. And how do we know? We know by how it feels. We've all done something wrong in our time. We've all said something or did something. We thought, oh, how we get this feeling all of a sudden. That's your guidance system saying, perhaps that wasn't the right way to handle that. And when you do something good and you feel so good about it. So you talk about my energy. My energy comes from the high vibration of the people I am mixing with. So when I have 7 or 8 people come to this workshop, say, and we're all from different backgrounds, we're all from different ages, but the energy in the room is so good and so high that we vibrate on a certain level. And when we all leave, we all carry that with us for quite a long time afterwards. So that mightn't make sense to some people, but it totally makes sense to me.
But it goes the opposite way too, Aileen.
Oh God, yes.
I don't
even think of that, Evelyn. No, I don't.
But
I don't.
For anyone that's for anyone that's listening, that it might sound is this complicated, but everything that I love talking about manifesting and creating a life for ourselves. But you will know it also by if we attract people that is a heavy energy and you come away from an environment, or you're in a job that you don't like, that doesn't bring you joy, and you're there for the money and you're coming home and you can't wait for a Friday, you can't wait for the night out, you can't wait for retirement, you can't wait for the holiday. It's not the purpose.
Yeah, no, you're not on the right path. And I had a friend recently, I said to her, think of what it is you do want. And she said, but I don't know what I want. And I said, then put that out there. Ask, say, I want to know what I want. And listen for the thoughts you get, for the ideas you get. And they're the things that will lead you onto the right path. But stop drifting through life, hoping that someone else makes the right decision for you, or hoping you fall into something that you'll enjoy. That's not how this works. And it's not hard work either, Evelyn, you're right. When you're on the right path, it's very, very easy, and you do have this snowball effect. And anything you want, you talk about manifesting. I needed money recently. I want to go to India in November with the Hope Foundation to see the work that they do with street children, and because India is very close to my heart. See what they do with the street children, the traffic children, and the children of the workers in these massive big dumps in Kolkata. But I needed money. I need to raise money, and I don't do fundraising. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do that? I put out at the universe one lunchtime, I need €2,000. I think it was €2,500. I need €2,000 for this. And it's something I really wanted, Evelyn. I really want to do this. I really want to go out with the Hope Foundation. Within 2 hours, I had that money.
There you go.
2 hours. 2 hours, I got a message on Instagram from a business to say, I will give you €2,000 to run one of those workshops for customers of mine. And the funny thing is, Evelyn, it's from a company that feeds children in Ireland. And I'm going out to see how they feed the children in India. It was just within 2 hours. So that's how easy it is if you are on the right path and you really feel joy about what you are doing, and what you want, and you believe what you want. So
it is. It aligns. It's a magical thing. It's so exciting. But I know we're going to get back to what it is you're doing, because I mean, you've got slots in Ireland AM. Here's the thing too, Aileen. If you allowed that to define you, oh, I'm a presenter on TV. I have 150,000 followers on Instagram. I am Aileen Hogan. And we allow that, to become us. Whereas, as you said, these are extra added on-ness. These are bonuses of the experiences in life.
Yeah. It's funny because I do look at, some people who they rise to fame, or they suddenly become rich, and they totally change. And it's none of that is who I am, and I will never be defined by that. I want to be defined by the lovely people that I meet and harmonize with, who like me for me, not because I'm in the paper, on the news, in the newspaper, on the TV. That's all bullshit, really. You know that. I know that. And no, that will never go to my head. Now, maybe if I was 20 and all this happened, yeah, I'd be thinking, "Ooh, look at me, look who I am." But I have a bit more sense now.
I think that's the thing with the age, isn't it? You really get, and I know myself too, every day, to appreciate this day, to find gratitude. And we are all so blessed. And that feeling of even just being blessed.
Yeah. I mean, some people say this is a terrible world we live in. Oh my God, this is a fabulous world. This is an amazing world we live in. Sorry, my husband.
I can hear your
comments in the background. Yeah, he's saying it's fabulous world because you married me. He's saying.
God gifted you the most amazing human being. Whenever you're
clearly that wasn't deliberate creating.
Don't let it define you, Aileen.
But no, it is a fabulous world we live in. We are just not doing it justice. Ourselves. Some of us, most of us aren't.
Well, Aileen, I'm going to wind up our podcast. Listen, you're a woman that I could easily sit and talk to all day. I know time would just flick by in the blink of an eye, and you're doing so many great things. That I saw you were away in Galway building.
Doing all that.
And here's the thing.
Yeah. What?
So here's the thing too. Today, the sponsor of this podcast, I had their advertisement sitting, waiting, their podcast. I thought the right one's going to come along. And he is a dog trainer here in the north of Ireland. Yeah, and I said, when I saw your away at Galway with the dogs, I said, that's the perfect one for there.
Oh, excellent. Delighted to hear that.
Great. Aileen, listen, anyone that wants to do your workshops, they are getting booked up really quick. What's the best way?
They're finished, Tommy. They're finished for this year. I can't actually fit any more in because I'm traveling with Fleetwood Paints in September, October a lot. So I'm afraid it'll be online only, Instagram. You can follow me along on shabby.ie until next year, and we'll start them again probably next May.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Aileen, for your time this morning. It's been a joy. My vibes are high. My freedom is all out there.
Thank you very much for having me, Evan.
If you would like to advertise your business by becoming a sponsor on an upcoming Effortless Attraction podcast, send an email to evelyn@evelynmcaleer.com.